Zozo, stop.
Welcome back to the Bird Hole, guys. Today we have a very special guest that flew all the way out from Baltimore.
That's right.
And today I'm honestly outnumbered by doctors. I'm sitting by 3 physicians. It's pretty incredible. I'm very honored to be here. But RC, our guest today, he is a internal medicine doctor. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Very nice. Well, we appreciate you having here. And he's celebrating a very, very good weekend. We got one of 5 bachelor parties.
That's right.
That's amazing, man. Congrats on the big feat of getting engaged.
I
It takes a
appreciate
lot to get past that cold feet.
Yes.
So how about you just talk about what your day-to-day is, how you got there, all that story. Why do you want to become a doctor, essentially?
Gosh. Well, like any young, promising Pakistani kid, I became a doctor because my dad told me I was going to be a doctor. Both my parents are physicians. Didn't really have much of a career choice outside of that. Looking back at it, definitely don't regret it. You know, get to meet wonderful people, get to interact with great patients, get to see medicine in every aspect of it. And yeah, you know, met your co-host Frank during residency.
We go way back.
We do go way back.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we first met?
We met during our residency interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
You always complain about. Why don't you tell the story? This is kind of your story to tell.
So, it's residency interview season. I'm sure AJ can relate to this.
How does a typical, when you're applying to residency, like for the folks watching at home, like how does that normally go? I'm guessing you applied to multiple places.
Well, if you've ever used the Tinder app, very similar.
There you go.
So you, in my case, you put your likes, how tall you are, and your board scores, and then you like a bunch of people and nobody likes you back. And that's what happens. You're lucky you might get one, but that's kind of how it works. It was an algorithm developed in the 70s. The person won the Nobel Prize for it. They use it in sorority matches and other things to kind of match the person
It's
with
true,
the best
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it's absurd. It's our outdated, archaic system that really artificially depreciates our wages and everything because there's a huge demand on their side and we get matched up with hospitals. But the whole match system's kind of a ruse, I think, overall. But similar to Tinder.
No,
get back to the story.
No, I mean, well, it's a very important point to say that's so right.
Yeah.
And by that, it is, you know, the gods of fate or the gods of Eras that put Frank in my path. So we met at our residency interview in Michigan, and the way the whole kind of spiel works is you come in, you sit down, the program director comes in, gives their little talk about the program, and then you break off, and one by one you actually interview with the program leadership. So while that's happening, you're kind of sitting there with the other applicants, essentially your competition, you know, lack of a better words, and you're just exchanging pleasantries until it's your turn. So I went in there, and Frank and one of our other co-residents, Neil, was there too. And, you know, we're all being very nice, pleasant. And I distinctly remember Frank not saying a word to any of us. And you would go, like, you know, we're kind of, again, just exchanging, you know, BS with each other. You go do your interview, and then you would leave. So the first gentleman who interviewed, he did his interview. He comes back and says, "Wonderful to meet you guys. Wish you all the best." And he left. Frank was, if I remember, the second guy. Frank didn't say anything. He went in, did his interview, left. And I remember thinking, I'm like, wow, what a dickhead. I hope I never see him again.
That's it. But just golfing with Frank. I mean, I've only known Frank for it's getting close to a year now. But Frank, he is a competitor. If we know, which is he goes into just a complete competitor mode. He gets the Mamba mentality going.
I see it on the golf course all the time.
That's it. He just gets that stern face. Doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's in his zone.
That's why playing golf with Frank when he's losing is a great time.
Oh, definitely the best.
Not for the turf. The turf takes a hell of a beating. The Earth's position moved out of orbit slightly after a couple nights ago.
Well, I'm curious. What was your guys' opinion? How did you guys meet Frank, and how did this all?
We actually all met in the sauna.
Met him in a
We
sauna.
did.
A sauna is a great place to make friends because it's about the only place you can have without a phone, and it's a form of forced interaction, which is nice. But we all like the same things, and it's just a really natural relationship to move into. So it just easy. Frank's been a good boy.
Absolutely. We never thought we'd start one of the world's most popular podcasts.
It just happened like that, just
Yeah.
organically.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's how it works.
We noticed the Rolex on his watch, or is the Rolex on his wrist?
We're hoping he'd leave it unattended, but he hasn't yet.
Yes.
So
It's an interesting thing that you just mentioned, that being forced to interact with someone because it's the one place where you don't have your cell phone, and how. And don't get me wrong, I love Frank, but how amazing that is that if you can put your phone down for even 5 minutes, how it can lead to such an amazing relationship.
it doesn't happen today. I mean, everybody's in their phone and has so many obligations.
Literally, our first 3 episodes we spent talking about the metaverse and how
That's
Yeah.
it removes you from just being on your phone for
Yeah.
all day.
We live in this augmented reality where you're forced and you have so many interactions. If you want to be somewhat keep up social ties, you're always going back and forth. You're kind of never off work. It's kind of a stressful life we got now.
Yeah, there's no break, right? It's
No
just-
break.
No, everybody's
You're
moving
gonna
on to
break.
something different. They're there for a set time. They really don't want to expel any energy for just even common pleasantries.
My phone vibration is entwined with my neural circuitry now. It's kind of a Pavlovian effect.
You get that little cortisol spike.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah. I
just like,
wonder
oh.
if you go into a public place like a basketball arena and you play the chime for a text message, how many people will check their phones?
Probably everyone.
Everybody, right?
Exactly.
That'd be interesting.
And it's weird
Yeah.
that your brain can pick up the different vibrations of different alerts.
Yeah.
Like, you know what's going off on your phone before you even pull it out. Reddit could be something, Twitter, whatever it may be, or X, excuse me. But ESPN, the same thing. I mean, everything is just so programmed into you. And I feel like it's just a crutch for everybody nowadays.
Do you before obviously coming in here, I knew about the podcast, and I was thinking about what I would kind of want to talk about. And I think my flight is a great example of kind of what we're hitting at. Is I remember I'm assuming we're all close to the same age. I remember there was a time you would be on the plane and your only source of entertainment would be the one screen that would either play a movie or a TV show. You would have to have your headphones, you'd plug in. And in a weird way, it was nice and also kind of shitty at the same time. But that you would be away from the requirements of the world in a weird way. You would strike up conversations with people next to you. And I remember doing that. And it was fun. And nowadays, because now I flew Southwest, we have Wi-Fi, and Southwest, Delta, any of these planes, they all have Wi-Fi. You have no break from being disconnected anymore. And it's interesting because you don't really have conversations with people on the plane anymore. You don't really have a break from I could be texting someone, no one would know I'm on a plane or not, because there's no disruption in my life. I'm curious, do you guys find, what are your thoughts on things like that? Because I had a weirdly profound moment where I'm like, wow, I'm on a plane. I had to get up and change my day. I'm going through a bunch of stress to, essentially for a fun trip, but no one else will know that I'm going through this, because if they need to reach me, there's no lapse in communication. There's no lapse in my availability.
Yeah.
There's like the obligation to get to it too, and people expect that this time. And it's interesting because being in 1999 when you were stuck on a flight and you had to fucking set through Miss Congeniality 2, there was some kind of reprieve to take your mind from that and enjoy a shitty movie. Whereas now you're answering emails, you're doing documents, or you're getting back to people from work, and it's a constant obligation. There's no real free time. That's why I look forward to the sauna, because your phone will melt. And it's somewhat, have you guys ever been driving and just get so many notifications that you want to throw it out the window? Does anybody else get that feeling?
Yeah, and they pop up on your dash.
Oh my God.
I mean, you said the word obligation, and
Yeah.
you're right. I feel like even though I assume the text message was designed as a way that, hey, this guy's busy, let me message them so they can reply at their convenience. Now, if I don't reply in 15, 20, 30 minutes or within maybe an hour, you feel this obligation, this pressure that why have I not done this? So no, it's an interesting thing that, I'm sure we're not the first group of people to talk about technology and its effect, but we're talking about human relationships and how you guys met. It's very difficult for a stranger to move to a new city and meet good friends, especially with this device in our hands that's essentially opening the world and also at the same time limiting us. You guys would not have met had he been forced, or you had been forced not to be able to bring this device in the room.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, also just having similar hobbies with a similar place to express those hobbies, like the golf sim. And then that's where I think we really struck up a connection when we just got together and played a game. I think things like that really increase a bond of just, fellowship essentially. Just hanging out, enjoying each other's company. But back to the plane situation, it's like
You guys both had a plane ride today.
we did,
right? You in
yeah.
Chicago.
I've had a
You flew
few.
from Baltimore.
And it's a weird time because, I've been flying for 10 years or so right now. And it's honestly, from my point of view, it's, rude now to talk to your passenger beside you, whoever's sitting next to you. But, I don't know how that goes, but I've never felt comfortable, really.
You were, what, the window seat today or the aisle seat?
I was the middle seat, going there and coming back. 2 full flights.
Did you get the armrests? or
No,
So
just a heads up, everybody listening in. The middle seat deserves the armrest.
I think that's pretty well
standard,
established.
isn't it? That's what I'm saying. So shout
The
out
quiet, the quiet fat guy next to you says no.
No, he just propped his elbows
It's
up.
universal. It's a plant. I don't think it's a real person because I always
Yeah.
said about the same guy.
It's always the same guy. It's like a bunch of Wii characters sitting out there. But they're literally propping their elbows up on you. They don't use their leg room. Like if you're on the aisle seat, stretch that right leg out and pop it out there.
Take their shoes off
Yeah,
and rub their feet on you.
So just to be clear, because I want to benefit of the doubt here, when you say they have rights to armrest, so you're in the middle seat. Are you saying you get both right and left?
You should. Yeah, I think so.
You're sandwiched between two people.
I mean, respectfully, I disagree.
Ooh. So which do you get, the right or the left? None of them? What?
No, you get one of them. You get one of them.
So there's always going to be one person with 2 armrests.
Might as well be the middle person.
Yeah, that is true.
It's a tough debate.
It is.
It is.
Honestly, planes.
Have you ever elbowed somebody for an armrest?
You do, but then when they fight back, they're just one button away from getting your ass in trouble with a flight attendant. And it's like every time you're flying,
Also,
it's on pins and needles.
why do people cause trouble on planes these days? It's like
Uh-huh.
everyone's seen those videos of the Karens.
Joey saw a
cousin.
fight on the plane.
Yeah,
Really?
so
Go to
Southwest.
Vegas.
No, I was coming back from Detroit actually, and I was standing in line in Southwest. Has the number system to where you get assigned A, B, or C, 1 through 60 or whatever. So this lady's with her family, and to say she's like A17, and this girl walks up that's probably A18, A19. And then the A19 girl cuts this girl in front of at A17 just to sit with her family. It's a wide open flight. It doesn't make a difference. And she just has a fit. She grabs her purse. They start yelling back and forth. She slaps the lady with her purse over 2 number spots when it's an empty flight. It doesn't matter. And they just bicker and bicker.
Did they let them both on the plane?
One of the assault, like the person
one
that
that instigated
assaulted,
the
yeah,
assault did not.
she was escorted away from the flight. I'm just thinking, like, what is the big deal here? You have your family here. It's embarrassing for you, and it's embarrassing for everybody watching.
So
The worst part about it too is like those flights are never on time either. When there's a big
No,
fight
who
like that,
cares?
you're screwing over a whole,
But what you're kind of alluding to, I think airline etiquette in general.
And it's tough. Airline travel sucks these days, right? The airline industry is like the least accountable industry there is. They overbook flights. No one's denying that, but you also just can't be, you can't, that you being,
I mean,
a jerk to other passengers doesn't accomplish anything.
So we spoke of this a little bit earlier today, where I can understand and respect, and there's a certain degree of, privilege that, okay, assuming that everyone has traveled on a plane within the last 5 years, but it is asinine to me, just the behavior that is now being portrayed so much more frequently on TikTok, Twitter, all these things, where the example you just gave, where I would hope that this is not these people's first time on a plane, that they should realize, okay, we're all trying to go to the same place. Whether you're A1 or C42, you're going to land in Nashville at the same time. And nowadays, I don't know how it was for you, but when I got on this flight, so I actually paid a little extra to be in the A1 through whatever, 15.
It's great $50 to go and just be smug as hell.
Yeah.
When they call up A, you're before the uniformed services, you're before 'em. The only people who get you are the disability people. And they,
or people with dogs get it as well.
you get a dog and you get a board first.
But it's like it's a known reality of the modern life. If you do not pay this, you are also understanding and should be ipso facto accepting of the fact that I'm not going to be on this plane first. I'm going to be here. I'm going to have to fight for one of these upper bins, and you deal with it. I find that this type of behavior completely unacceptable. What the story you just told me. Similarly today, get on the plane. I paid a little extra, but then they made the announcement every seat's going to be full. So I made the mental calculation, okay, I would prefer to have more leg room. I went further back and just got the seat with the empty seat ahead. So it's the exit row. I don't have a seat in front of me, so I can stretch out.
Great row.
I know for a fact that, okay, because I made the conscious choice that I'm going to be further back, that when I get off the plane, naturally I'm going to be further off and will come off the plane a little bit later. What I don't understand these days is that people have this either sense of entitlement or whatever, that the plane fucking lands. Immediately everyone gets up and is trying to rush out there. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I have no idea why people stand up as soon as the plane lands or gets to the what's it called?
The gate?
The gate.
Before it gets to the gate.
Before it gets to the gate.
Seatbelt signs on, people are up. And
yeah, come on. It's going to take 30 minutes every time.
yeah.
You think they just deploy those little slides and let everybody have a little fun.
Yeah.
You get off the side and you're done. I mean, I don't know why anybody's ever used that idea before.
And it's not just for airlines. I mean, you look at fast food workers or anybody providing some kind of service to someone. I mean, everybody as a customer feels entitled to what their expectations are, and it's not going to be met a lot of times.
Do you think a lot of that's because of social media and everyone how quick everything happens on their
I
phones?
think so.
That just makes everyone, their attention span is just so much less than even
Yeah, you don't
4 or
need
5 years
anybody.
ago.
You don't need anything. You have an economy that's very self-righteous. You can kind of do whatever you want. I don't have to have a buddy for a ride. I have Uber. I don't have to find anybody to cook me food or be pleasant. I have Uber Eats. Just let it come to me. Drop it off. I don't have to have any interaction. You can have anything these days. It used to be where you needed to rely on people. Yeah, I don't have to rely on shit these days. It's all there.
And to me, it would make more sense, coming back to what we were just talking about, is let's just say that while you were up in the sky, you were disconnected from the social media, the texting, all that when you land, you need to get that fix immediately, which is why you're so quick to rush off the plane. But the fact that you have it at all times, even now, the luxury of a plane, it doesn't make sense to me that what is the rush to get off? What is the rush to be rude? And I mean, we've heard all the TikToks. Is it the COVID that has made people more anxious about being in a close proximity with people? Is it they booked too narrow of a layover? But it is just, I feel like as a society, like airline travel has actually trended for the worse. rather than the better.
I think most people would agree with that. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I mean, nice being a tube and going across the country in 3 hours, but hell, you're dealing with a lot of bullshit these days. That's for sure. Service industry's just gone to hell. No matter if you're in restaurants,
No kidding.
airline.
I mean, think about everything post-COVID. Like, I mean, you can't even go to any fast food restaurant past 10. There's no late night eats unless you Uber Eats it. But
And then you Uber Eats it. You order Chipotle. They give you like 3 of the tiniest pieces of steak you've ever seen in your life, and it was just like $40 for
that used to be one of my favorite
900
things.
calories worth of food.
Exactly. Like going out to eat late at night, that was always fun, you know. But now
You big Taco Bell 4th meal guy?
No, I'm not really a Taco Bell guy. It's my hot take of the night, but it hits pretty well every once in a while. But as far as like stuff like that, I mean, I couldn't tell you honestly last time I sat in a fast food restaurant and ate.
Oh, sat down inside?
Mhm.
Never.
No, never. You're talking about entitlement and people traveling.
Yeah.
You've never actually eaten inside of a McDonald's.
I mean,
If McDonald's brought back the birthday party, would you be there?
For
yes.
sure, yeah.
Do you remember you get a little cake? It has a grimace on it.
Mhm.
It had cookies you could eat. That would be, I think if McDonald's geared to nostalgic millennials, I think they are doing that right now with the grimace shake.
Yeah, I think they are.
And they're moving back that way. If they bring back, if McDonald's is listening, if they bring back the McDonald's party, I think there would be a lot of people in there for that. I know I would. I crave nostalgia. I don't know about
I
you
do too.
boys.
I think everyone does, right?
Experience.
Yeah.
Experience
Yeah.
is definitely there. McDonald's, for the most part, for all of us since we were kids, now it's just been, okay, work's been crappy, I'm staying too late, quick bite. We don't, I have not, until you just brought up the Grimace Shake, I forgot McDonald's used to have the play zone and
Oh,
birthday
yeah.
parties.
Ronald McDonald.
experience.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could go sit by Ronald McDonald at every McDonald's.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, I mean, yeah, they used to cater to kids. I don't think they were marketing for childhood obesity. I mean, I think it was
It was just a byproduct.
yeah,
Of,
like, I mean, it
It didn't
is.
cause childhood obesity.
it didn't,
it's
but-
just
The,
sitting
the
on your ass
obesity,
causes that.
the obesity came when the experience left.
Exactly. It's like you would go in.
yeah, there's no
and-
exercise now. You don't have the slides or the ball pit. Those filthy, just disgusting.
But it used to be such a fun experience to go in there. You go in, check out what Happy Meal toys they had in the display window. You go play in the playhouse.
I can still smell that plasticky smell in the ball pit right now.
I know.
It makes me hungry.
You put your shoes in little cubbies.
Yeah, and you steal the kids' shoes.
Yeah.
Do
The,
you guys?
no matter how many left-sided and right-sided Jordans I have that don't match. So
I don't know what it's called here. If in Nashville, we have this in Maryland. I think it's even in Texas too. It's like Air Zone or Airplay, where it's like those type of like the gymnastic bungee jumping into a ball pit but it's like adults.
oh yeah,
And those are all the rager right now with millennials, because you have like your party, you have a little bit of alcohol, and then you get to go like jump on a trampoline and into a ball pit.
I wonder who wrote the waiver for that. I'm sure when you
a
go
good
in there,
attorney.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's got to be all
Johnny
sorts of
Cochran.
iPad screens you click through on that. I'm sure
Yeah, but you click through them, you don't read them.
nobody does.
You want to get faster.
Well, or laser tag, or these activities that seemingly are childish but are so much now popular by people of our age.
Escape rooms do the same thing.
Yeah, they kind of fill that same mental void.
Oh yeah, everybody. What was the coolest movie when you grew up? It was Saw. You get stuck. You have little games. You get stuck in there. He kills bad people mostly. So when you go to escape room and you get locked in a room trying to build out of it, you're just kind of going back to those memories.
Yeah,
You guys watch Saw 1 through 9?
I haven't seen all 9.
Fourth
but
one
I've
was the
s-
best.
Saw 1,
Uh-huh.
I loved it. 2 was good. 3, I think I had enough,
Yeah.
and I didn't watch any of the rest of them.
How far did you make it in the Fast and Furious movies?
I've watched
Oh.
all those multiple times.
I have a. This is a. This
Shout
could
out
be-
to Paul Walker.
Paul
this-
Walker.
Rest in peace, guys.
Rest in
We've got him
peace.
memorialized on the.
We do.
We love Paul Walker here at the Bird Hole. He's one of our icons.
This is gonna be a 45-minute story. I'll just make it into.
Just
a
let it
2-minute.
ride.
I'll make it a 2-minute story. No, I mean the Fast and Furious movies. I thought they were so iconic to, like, it was the Star Wars of our generation without knowing it is going to be Star Wars. Let me explain. Obviously, Star Wars, iconic. But when you were there in the 70s and 80s when this movie came out, you didn't realize what it's going to be. Same thing with Fast and Furious. I remember 2001, the first one came out. Awesome. Everyone wanted it. I was 11 years old. I couldn't wait to turn 16 to have my Toyota Supra.
Or your R34 Skyline.
Yeah. And then it evolved and it became kind of its own beast. But yeah, I remember when Paul Walker died. I remember that to the day.
I think there's a lot of men in our age group that shed quite a few tears that day.
I actually watched Fast and Furious 7 on my Southwest flight while flying over here, and
Did you really?
It brought a tear to my eye.
You were bringing it
What's
up
the chances
now.
of that?
You must
Yeah.
have thought the same thing.
Yeah. We would just live in a simulation and everything's just...
Yeah, we're in a
I'm
simulation.
not gonna lie. I've seen, I think, Fast and Furious 3. Didn't we go see that?
There's a
theater?
Tokyo Drift.
No,
Yeah,
that was
Tokyo Drift.
that wasn't 3. That was
Those
it?
three.
Was
So
it? But it doesn't happen in order. It's like
it has the weirdest.
Mm-hmm.
So
Vin Diesel pops in at the end, right?
So it's
because it's all separate
it's
characters.
The Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Too Fast.
The naming system.
Fast,
is
Too
Furious.
Furious.
Yeah.
Then it goes to Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Then Fast 5.
Yeah.
Then Fast 6. Then Tokyo Drift, and then Fast 7.
No, I don't think Tokyo Drift came out after 6.
But the
but
anthology,
it's out of
the
order.
Anthology.
Oh,
is
the
how
order.
it's supposed
Yeah,
to
you're
be.
saying chronologically fine.
It came out 1, 2, 3, 4,
yeah.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Have you ever watched any or Fast and Furious movies?
Some of them. I saw that TikTok where that kid was grilling vegetables. and
Yeah, that was pretty
At the
funny.
ending, it was a funny one, man.
It's just crazy. They're in space now. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
gotta keep moving out.
yeah.
I guess.
so Dwayne the Rock Johnson brought that whole franchise and revitalized it. I think it became a little too ridiculous.
Now I've heard something about this too. I'm pretty sure like maybe him and Vin Diesel don't get along great, or I know the Rock in like all of his movie contracts, if he's ever in like any fight scene or anything like that, there's like a clause that says his character cannot lose.
So as I heard it, when he came into Fast 5, obviously it shook things up. I think Fast 5 was the best one of all the series. But yeah, because it added this whole new additional massive muscular bald dude to the movie series. And then Vin Diesel at the same time was also EP of those movies. So there was this big like ego war. So there was a very public fight between Vin Diesel and The Rock for number 8. And actually, if you watch the movie, they're never in the same scene together. Very Al Pacino and what was his name?
Brando?
Ludicrous.
Robert De Niro. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro have not been in the same frame for quite some time. I'm going to need a fact check on this, but then they finally did a movie together, and then that was the first time that they were in the same frame together, and that was because it was two big ego battles that they just refused to work together the same day, so they would shoot their scenes separately. That was put to rest by the most recent Fast movie, because Dwayne The Rock Johnson said, I'm not going to be part of the franchise anymore. And then he shows up in the end credits of the most recent movie. So
That's quite a good history there. That's quite the movie series.
I have a blood pact to watch every movie that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is in.
That's
so.
awful. I'd rather eat arsenic.
So when were y'all WWE fans by any chance? growing
Hell
up?
yeah.
I can keep up. I know here and there.
So when I was 6 or 7, AJ was probably 12 or 13,
Mm-hmm.
our parents bought us tickets to go see WWE Judgment Day. We got to see all the essentially Hall of Famers of wrestling. We saw The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker,
Steve Austin,
Ric Flair,
Sting.
Kane, all those guys. But what age were y'all when y'all figured out the WWE was fake?
What?
I thought what?
Yeah,
I was pretty
excuse me.
convinced it's
It's pretty
still
real.
right?
What do you think?
The injuries are real, but
There's-
the outcome I didn't realize it till I was probably 13.
Some of those injuries are real.
Well, all the
For
injuries
sure,
are real.
yeah.
It's dangerous
So-
as
The
hell.
steroid use. And
When
Yeah.
did the video games come out?
They came out
PlayStation
early.
1 for sure.
I had it on
Yeah.
SNES 2,
the N64.
Super Nintendo. I had it on Super Nintendo, but those are the best games ever. Yeah, we had the N64. We had,
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember playing on the PS2 pretty vividly. You'd go backstage and like start shit, throw your chairs, tear up the locker room.
If I remember correctly, it was in the video. I mean, when you like are playing the video game and you would use the chair to like hit somebody,
Mhm.
they would actually hit them though in the video game.
Yeah, they would.
So for the
They hit in
longest
real
time,
life,
I didn't
too.
think it was fake.
They got hit in real life too.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
not fake. Like getting hit like that isn't fake.
Mhm.
The outcome's predetermined, but getting hit
the
and
the punches are fake, the kicks are fake, but like you can't fake the tightrope of catching a grown ass man like 300 pounds.
or getting pile drive.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Monday Night Raw several years back. It was in Maryland,
Mhm.
and when you'd see the actual fights, they'd be stomping on the
Yeah.
ground when they'd punch somebody, or it was very
Some good
obviously
camera
fake.
work.
That's true.
Yeah.
But even
But it was very obviously fake.
Yeah.
I remember Chris Benoit. His finishing move was like a headbutt from the tightrope.
Yeah.
You remember what it was called?
It was called the flying headbutt. And no wonder,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if think of the brain damage he sustained from that.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
just
obviously,
jumping 10 foot onto somebody with a head first.
like 6 times a week.
Yeah, even the
He would go
spinal
practice
cord.
it.
Yeah,
He'd have to get in the back and practice his headbutts.
exactly. I could imagine that. I mean, CTE definitely led to his demise.
Oh, for sure.
Not
He
to
was.
go into
He had
it.
nothing. He had no brain left.
But I mean, you think of it. Was it Matt Hardy that fell from like 100 feet?
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. Like, I mean, wrestling, it's just ridiculous what they go through.
Yeah, I'd much
Even
rather
now.
play in the NFL for 10 years than be a
Exactly.
professional wrestler for 10 years. We're talking about
And
health.
A lot of those guys are like former athletes too, like football players. I mean, they take whoever they can find with that kind of physique and kind of mentality of performing in front of a crowd like that.
And getting your head hit.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, like we saw. I mean, all kinds of stuff growing up like that. Like we were just.
It was
huge
interesting. We grew up in the WWE Attitude Era, which was huge debauchery because you had evil like Satan.
Yeah,
You had Kane, who was Satan, and then you had the divas who would just run around naked.
Trish Stratus, and,
Trish Stratus and
Stacey
Stacey
Keibler.
Keibler and Tori Wilson.
Did you guys ever watch any like real backyard wrestling growing up?
We had one.
we did
next
we had
to
a
our
ring.
house.
Yeah.
At your house, you had a
It
ring.
wasn't our house; it was in the neighborhood, though. But these guys would always do it, and they would take it. Was it E10 that did it?
Aten Rodriguez was a lucha libre that dropped out of high school,
Yeah,
and he would take barbed wire to the head.
It
And
was
so you
ridiculous.
go down there for an audience of 6 people. After we get done eating our Friday night
They'd have
pizza,
walkout tunes and everything.
we'd go down and watch Aten,
pretty
who was
legit,
a
though.
high flying lucha
Yeah.
libre play.
What would your walkout tune be if you were?
It'd probably be I don't know. It'd be
That'd probably be the Pokemon theme.
Copperhead
Yeah.
Road.
Copperhead Road.
Yeah, I think Copperhead Road would
But
be
you
something
think,
good.
like, all those characters are so fantastic. You had Gold Dust.
Yeah, Goldust was this effeminate,
Yeah.
asexual male, but he he is agenderless. He had no gender,
Yeah.
and he'd come out in gold and blow gold dust and fight Roddy Papper, who was a
Yeah.
fake Scottish man,
Then you
but
had,
very angry.
What's the mask dude?
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
he was.
They had everybody.
talented.
They had everybody.
Man,
I
they
mean,
created such a good
Yeah,
story.
Vince McMahon. I mean, you think about how someone. I mean, I guess his dad started the business, but him to turn
He
it
just
into
sold it,
something
right?
like that, I'm not sure.
Did he? I know
It's
it's
in
a
the
public
works,
company.
Yeah,
Okay.
He was CEO.
he's still CEO.
Oh. Okay.
I get confused. Is Triple H Vince? The
No,
same
his
they're
guy?
son-in-law.
It's his. He married his daughter.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's like a vice president of operations of the WWE.
he got a good
now.
deal.
Yeah,
Vince's daughter's a very pretty girl.
and Kane's the Knoxville mayor now.
Joey met
Really?
Kane.
I did meet Kane. Yeah. We were passing by at where I saw Judgment Day in 2001. And I said, the last time I saw you here, you looked a little different. And
That's
he
pretty
said,
fun.
did I? Yeah, he was a really nice guy. But it's just a crazy, crazy world of entertainment. I mean, we went to SummerSlam last year, and as kids, we never thought we'd get one of those like souvenir seats they have. And
If you sit right next to the ring, you buy a $2,000 ticket, you get a souvenir chair.
So we saw Roman Reigns is the new guy, I think. Logan Paul. It's just not the same.
It's not the same. The characters aren't as deep.
You can't build a character development story like they do.
Not in this culture. You can't build a crazy Undertaker. Or
The Big Show.
Have you guys heard of this show? I think it's on Showtime called Heels. So I have not seen the show, but the main actor was star of a show I used to like. But I guess the show the premise is basically small town, middle America, big into wrestling. So this family owns the big wrestling ring, and they have all these characters, and it's essentially like their movie theater. It's their opera, where they have these people and they wrestle. And it's very much like shitty small town. They have their costumes, their storylines. But yeah, the show's called Heels. I think the second season just came out, and it got renewed for a third, assuming this strike stops. But very much like nostalgia for us, because like I hear you guys talking about how the shows, the characters, the deep stories, and this show brings like a very human element to those people.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Speaking of the writer's strike, what's any updates with that?
I have no idea.
They're all AI algorithms now. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what they just settled
I
on.
think they have to.
They're going to bring James Dean back to play in Fast Furious.
I mean,
10.
if I was a writer right now, I'd milk it out as far as it could go.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Once you use ChatGPT, you can't go
You're
back.
not going back.
I wrote the script for this podcast with ChatGPT, so I'm glad you guys are follow the teleprompter.
It's I think I watched your guys' episode. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before, where you guys talked about that episode of Black Mirror.
Oh yeah.
By far, probably the scariest and best episode of that show, because it is. Sorry,
which episode was it?
The most recent.
We're talking about we're talking about the episode in Black Mirror with like the social credit score. Maybe was that we were talking about
the Netflix one?
Yeah, the new season. I think I've seen it. I don't. Is it the last one?
Oh, I swear I saw it was you guys mentioned in your podcast, but it was the most recent season, and the episode is essentially a girl who's living in an AI world that is already written.
Is it the one about the paparazzi girl?
No, this is the one. It's Selma Hayek
plays
an AI version of the girl who's watching it.
Yeah.
It's a very Inception kind of based episode.
I don't think I've seen it.
And they're using her likeness to portray on the screen as this girl who's Selma Hayek, but it's not Selma Hayek's likeness. She's just getting her likeness used for this woman's storyboard. And they all get pissed off, and it's kind of this inner working of events that happens. It's a strange...
Going off of just Black Mirror, you think of everything comes out as just a reformed version of something, right? Like, isn't Black Mirror just another Twilight Zone, essentially?
That's kind of the idea.
I mean, that's what
a little bit, yeah.
It's a modern Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
With twist and kind
it's
of...
It's a fantastic show. I love it.
It's my favorite show.
Does any show come out to you that's, completely original, that's nothing like that's been done before? Because, everything
Well,
I've seen
I think part
out,
of it now, too, is I feel like a lot of these studios they're a bit hesitant to try something new because if they have a proven formula that works, they're dumping so much money into this. It's so much less risk for them to try something new.
That's why you see all the Marvel movies. Each one of them's a box office. In my opinion, they're just essentially the same movie over and over again.
Yeah,
you're seeing Disney's entertainment wing of their company being really downgraded as far as the market goes. They haven't put out any good movies. They've been very algorithmic. They haven't taken any chances. The only successful couple of movies that have been put out in the last years are Barbie and Oppenheimer. That was the two.
But you think of Disney's attacked everything is do a real life action film. They just released the Lilo and Stitch live action.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck. If you're just gonna want to watch the cartoon to have some kind of, again, nostalgia feeling, seeing Lion King, Jungle Book, and all those, and even The Little Mermaid.
They didn't do well.
They don't do well. Yeah. It's just not. You can't really fantasize about it.
It just doesn't capture the same.
Exactly. There's no
no.
Disney
well, they're not.
allure.
They're also not. They're not original stories, right? They're just redone versions of the old ones.
Redone.
Yeah.
You mentioned Barbie and Oppenheimer. Did you guys watch those movies?
I've seen Barbie.
I haven't seen either
Not
one of
yet.
them.
And I've been
Me
looking
too.
forward to seeing Oppenheimer for 3 years, but I put it on the plate. It's like when you get, when you're a kid, you get a piece of rock candy. It's too pretty. You don't want to bite into it. It's kind of the same way. I've been putting it off, and eventually it'll go bad. But that's a problem. I've seen Barbie, which I never thought I'd see.
And I feel like you need to see Oppenheimer in theaters too. And it's just so like I feel like all these like historic films, they try to fit so much into 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like you cannot tell that story in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like it's a good idea, but like, how are we gonna sum up a whole story like that?
And Wolf of Wall Street was summed up in about
Fan-
3.5 hours.
It was fantastic though.
Great
I mean,
movie.
honestly, anything with Leonardo DiCaprio,
He doesn't pick shit.
he doesn't. I mean, with like Quentin Tarantino, anything he directs is fantastic.
Christian Bale
Yeah.
doesn't pick shitty movies.
Mark Tarantino or not,
Quentin
or
Tarantino.
what's the other one's name? The Inglourious Bastards.
Schultz?
No.
Tarantino.
Did he do well,
He directed it.
Martin Scorsese?
Oh,
Scorsese, yeah,
Scorsese.
he did Wolf of
Scorsese
Wall
doesn't
Street.
do shit either.
No, those are the good ones. And like even like I mean we're huge Elvis fans, and we thought that movie sucked ass.
Well, Baz Luhrmann I like a lot.
He did
Great
good.
Gatsby
The Great
was my
Gatsby was
favorite.
fantastic.
But, the Elvis movie was just Tom Hanks did a bad job.
How can he take Colonel Tom Parker? Especially that, I mean, I think Tom Hanks has been playing the same role for 30 years. The stereotypical white dude.
I thought you were going to say something else.
But
Sorry.
like I mean, like that's in my opinion. Then he tries to go out, and then you can see why he doesn't.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Well, Tom Hanks is one guy who's told he's never done a bad job
That's
since
true.
Forrest Gump. And so whatever he does is just amazing. He's kind of reached that echelon. I feel like Christian Bale and DiCaprio still pain themselves to be an artist and put they put 100% in all their movies.
they do.
But there's just actors who get lazy. Look,
Ryan Reynolds and
What's your favorite movie DiCaprio's done?
it's hard to say. I mean,
every single.
Titanic, probably one of the best movies ever played. Catch Me If You Can, I liked.
Yeah, that was
I like
great.
Aviator.
Aviator, Inception.
And it's weird.
Gilbert
though.
Grape. I don't know if there's a bad one.
No.
Has he ever been in a bad movie?
No, I don't think
Was
so.
Romeo and Juliet? Was that?
That was also considered a good movie.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it was,
Yeah, it's critically acclaimed.
The worst movie was probably The Revenant.
And that's
He
what he
won the
got.
Oscar.
And that's what he got his Oscar for.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's the one he
Yeah.
won it for. That was the movie I disliked the most.
But like you look at like Wolf
That's
on
it,
Wall
it's
Street,
boring.
like I mean that's so entertaining. Just
Yeah.
the way they just made that whole movie.
Yeah,
And then
very
even
well directed.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
Oh,
my
Once
gosh,
Upon a
yeah.
Time in Hollywood. I forgot about that one.
I mean Brad Pitt's another great one. I think. Like I loved
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards.
I'm Cliff Booth.
Yeah, that's it.
Playing for Tarantino to write a story of a downtrodden Midwestern actor who moved to Hollywood in the 50s and played spaghetti westerns, and then when it morphed into these more artsy films, he had no
Exactly.
place. And the setting of the Sharon Tate murders. How
Yeah.
can you write that? Like, where do you
It's
start?
insane. Yeah.
And the Brad Pitt, that's actually Brad Pitt's life story. You know, he went to University of Missouri, and like how many kids are just gonna move to LA? I mean, I guess if you look like them, that kind of helps.
Yeah.
You get the role in Fight Club immediately.
Yeah. And I can't believe he's 60 years old.
when he
He's 60?
He's 60 years old.
So I watched that movie in theaters. You know
We
that
did
scene
too.
like he takes his shirt off.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
There was a fucking gasp in the movie theater.
TRT therapy, baby.
Like
it
the
works.
guy
It
looks
does.
incredible.
It looks
Yeah.
great.
And like, so what do y'all think of like all these physiques in Hollywood coming from a bunch of MDs here? Like those, like you look at people like,
There's the guy from Silicon Valley.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Nagiani.
Yeah, like, how
what
does
do
he
you think
get
of
around?
him?
RC, you've got. I remember when his transformation came out. How we had a lot of conversations about that.
like how does that then you see all these workout plans like look like Batman.
Just do
look
3
like,
delt
okay.
flies a day.
So
All I ate
you
was-
fast and you eat chicken breast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
I mean, I'll speak for myself. I try and work out 4 to 5 times a week.
It
but-
shows.
But at the same time, I enjoy my meals. And I consider working out like rent. Okay, I'm going to do this so I can do this. I don't think it is a complete unattainable physique to get. What he did, very impressive, and obviously there's the camera tricks, dehydrate, all that shit. I don't think it's unrealistic to obtain a body like that. However, all of us sitting here right now, we have daytime jobs that we worked very hard to reach and that take a lot of our time. Yes, if I didn't have to, go be a doctor, if all I had to do was work out and had my meals prepared for me, I don't think it's too hard of a reach.
I think that kind of physique is. I think when you're 40, trying to get there.
Well,
But they're not. Sorry, let me also rephrase.
Yeah.
They're not the ones sitting there cooking their own chicken breast.
Yeah.
They have people, rather studios, paying for the best nutritionists, meal preps, all these things. I listened to a podcast where Kumail Nanjiani was on, and he was getting bi-monthly body scans.
But honestly,
he had to be put on medication because he was eating so much meat and chicken. His cholesterol shot up. So this is I felt his example in particular. I know very well that he was getting blood work done and his meals were being adjusted, his pre-workout, post workouts, and he was not training like I was training. He's training with a set,
But again, you look at anything that resembles that, steroids,
Steroids.
Sure.
Natty
So
not.
it is, yeah.
Not natty.
That's a big difference.
Not natty.
And I think
Who's a good example of a natty body that you can achieve? That Pratt's dude.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. Chris Pratt, maybe you could get that body, I think.
Yeah,
A little bit softer.
Well, the other thing,
the Shang-Chi guy.
oh,
I think it looked like a natural, good-looking
So
body.
the thing is, nowadays too, especially with social media being the way it is, I think it's always been that way in Hollywood. There's always this big incentive, right, for these stars to, to look as good as possible on camera. They're shredded. They're 9% body fat. They look enormous on camera. Probably in person, they probably wouldn't look as huge. But there's big things you have to look at, like the rate of change in let's say their muscle mass. If they look 30 pounds heavier compared to a month and a half ago when they did some interview on TV, and now they're shredded and clearly put on a ton of size, you just simply can't do those things without exogenous steroids.
Exactly.
And
Age and vascularity are two things.
yeah.
And the thing I think that's most remarkable is an actor going the opposite way. You look at Joaquin Phoenix that did in Joker,
Or
Christian
Christian
down to
Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian
they got
Bale's-
down to 130
Christian Bale's
pounds.
fluctuated 150 pounds.
I mean, that is
both directions in
dedication.
his yeah.
He went from The Machinist to playing Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
He did.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, and the thing is you think of I read Christian Bale said he ate tuna filled apple a day. That was it. I could imagine.
I can't imagine anything less
Yeah.
satisfying to eat.
Yeah, and Joaquin Phoenix is the same thing. Just to take something like that, that's when you really, and he's another underrated actor for sure.
He's up there.
Phoenix, yeah. I can't wait for Joker 2. Have y'all
Oh
saw
my
that?
God.
They
That's
announced
amazing.
that?
They did.
When's it supposed to come out?
Oh.
I think 2024.
We'll sag
Okay.
after. Maybe we'll never know.
Yeah, it might get pushed back.
That's amazing.
That
was a great movie.
Yeah, Todd Phillips did awesome on that one.
Todd Phillips movies are great. You can't beat Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Do you think Shia LaBeouf will have a resurgence in his career?
To me, he's definitely
He's crazy
he is
actor.
crazy and he's fantastic.
He's an amazing
Yeah.
actor.
He's never done a bad job in anything,
No.
has he?
He fits the profile of those high esteemed Hollywood actors.
Like
as
the
far as
real
the
method
ability.
actor, just kind of.
Just
He's a great
dedicated.
method actor.
But at the same time, no one's going to give him a role because he's controversial.
If
Unless
he,
it's like Quentin
if he
Tarantino.
was in a Tarantino movie, he could kill it.
He would get an Oscar. There's no
Tarantino,
doubt.
if you're listening to this,
He is
write-
from
write-
Knoxville.
Write him a role.
He's a Tennessean.
Did y'all know in every single Tarantino movie he shouts Knoxville out?
Does he?
Yeah, the beer and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was Tennessee beer.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
There's
That's
Tennessee
cool.
has a reference in every movie.
It's
That's
just
really
cool
awesome.
to learn about his story too. He used to work in a Hollywood video store, rented out movies, and he was
Blockbuster.
he was totally content with it because he said, "I just loved working with movies."
Mm.
And he was just then he wrote Pulp Fiction, which is one of the best movies of all time.
And he started.
Yeah.
Wrote himself a sexy role.
And then another cool fact about that is like y'all know the heroin dealer in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You know who that was supposed to be played by originally?
Who?
Kurt Cobain.
Really?
Wouldn't that have been awesome?
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd been real.
That would have been so. Yeah, it'd have been perfect. But unfortunately, it didn't happen.
It's unfortunate that, I mean, all these, right now with this strike, I mean, I'm not sure how much you guys talked about it previously, but it is going to really throw off entertainment for the next few years.
Yeah, because you have this like downstream effect now when people, normally would be working on stuff.
Well,
everything's gonna get so delayed.
Like on Netflix right now, number one show is Suits. Suits ended several years ago.
Yeah.
They're just regurgitating and re-putting out because there's going to be no content.
I think there's only one answer to this, and that's to rewatch The Sopranos.
Sopranos is amazing.
Fantastic, but hopefully,
It's
honestly,
objectively the greatest.
Do you see the
television
movie
show.
industry moving towards like Tennessee and Georgia, where you have a right to work state and you don't need the Screen Actors Guild?
the thing is that hopefully this is like because I think a lot of people are tired of like what Hollywood's been putting out lately. A bunch of shitty movies, maybe
some independent stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Should,
Like,
kind of surface a
push
little
it,
bit.
yeah. Like it's just nothing that I can remember. Like in the past 5 years, it's just been like gold. Like where you like, I'm glad I went to go see this movie.
Top Gun Maverick was the last movie I felt that.
Yeah.
way. And yeah, but I guess with the same thing with the Screen Actors Guild issue is, I just recently saw a TikTok, so I don't take that with a grain of salt, but they're nowhere close to resolving this.
There's no way. Yeah.
No, I mean, and the thing is those kids go to college for that role, and to me, that creative kind of work environment shouldn't be taught in a classroom. You know,
No.
it's like a weird thing, especially with stand-up comedy too. Like, there's not
can't
a right
formally
way
learn it.
of learning to tell a joke.
Right.
No, it takes years to stand up
Exactly.
to get comfortable, to figure out your timing, kind of feel out a crowd.
It's
There's so much to it, and it's all like I feel like so much of it's just like subconscious. You just need to get your reps in. I mean, I don't think Chappelle or these guys would be where
No.
they're at without just
And
practicing
yeah,
that stuff.
Leonardo DiCaprio's not sitting through art class, you know. Like,
No.
I mean, it's just like it's just weird of how that works, and I feel like that's
Like
been
at
kind
some
of
point, you
disputed.
just need like practical application. To something. Like you
Exactly.
need to actually just do something.
You gotta
know?
be good at it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
I
gotta
mean,
do
like
it.
our podcast is going phenomenally so far, but
Exactly, and we're
it's
just
only
getting
gonna
reps
get
in.
and it's gonna get better. You know.
Yeah, there's a short with a dog on it.
Yeah, he
Because
winks at you if you watch it long enough.
If you guys see the wink, make it write it in the comments.
Yeah,
We'll wink back.
but yeah, I mean, we've seen growth already just from our short time here. I mean, we went from 100 views.
On a percentage basis, it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, like we're already up to almost 6,000 views, I think, 7,000.
Something like
views,
that. Yeah.
Which is
2,000 of them are Frank.
yeah.
No.
No, I mean, we got each one of us have a viral video. So if you watch this, please like it, leave a comment, We'll
Subscribe.
get
Hit
back
that bell icon. You know.
to
All
you.
the-
Every
the
every
YouTube
comment will
buzzwords.
get a bird hole sticker.
Are you guys doing merch?
and not yet.
We
These
have
are all false promises.
We
Please
have
don't
stickers. We have stickers.
we do have. We're working with our
I have
merch
60
drop shippers in China that are gonna.
I have 60 stickers. If you leave a comment, I'll send you a sticker. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to see some refreshing product of
Something new
Yeah,
would be
that's what I
great.
mean,
I
like
want
just-
something new.
like I'm tired of
An original
reboots
story.
from movies.
What's
from
gonna
the
happen?
80s.
So Quentin Tarantino has one movie left.
Apparently, but he needs to do a couple more.
He's
Yeah.
pretty adamant though about this being his last.
There's
he
no
wants
way
to
he's gonna
finish
do
it.
more.
Yeah.
He's probably tired of
So
working on
after
Hollywood.
that, like that's it. No,
There's no more
no
good
original,
movies.
no original.
Unless AI writes one.
They could.
Yeah,
Sorry, what was the last Tarantino movie?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
that was what 2-3 years ago now. 3.
Yeah, it
3
was
years
probably
ago?
3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
before COVID.
Yeah.
That was a great time.
Yeah, I mean, The Joker was one of the last good ones I've seen as well. That was 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And I think that's another way to spin it. Like, all these superhero movies, like, let's be real, they're supposed to be, there's always a dark side of a superhero movie, and they're just so light about it. Like honestly, if you want, like, it's not just for kids. Like if you put some gore in it, like actually let someone kill somebody in the movie, it'd be kind of refreshing. You know, it's entertainment, and I feel like there's been a big lack of that. When you see the Avengers team up and go to space, I mean, it's just a little bland to me.
I think movies also you're limited to that 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
Except for them where they get 8 movies.
Yeah.
I mean that now. I mean Marvel's a whole other beast that you can just talk about, but TV wise, you know, these 10 episode series allow you to flesh out. I remember the Punisher series that was pretty good on Netflix. He was killing people, but again, it wasn't like it was done in a weirdly organic way because you have 10 episodes, 13 episodes.
That's what I mean.
To flesh out that character.
Yeah, character building is huge in any story, and I mean that's why I love the Joker.
Just a good miniseries lets you really.
But
really
that's
build a
another thing. We're
character.
so just instant gratification with just clicking Netflix on TV to watch whatever it is. It's just, has anyone seen the side effects of Netflix limiting streams or changing location?
Have you ran into that yet?
Yes, because it was my brother's credit card that we had 3 accounts on, and they just recently, I want to say in the last couple of weeks, this happened, where you can't be logged on too many devices. So
it's like honestly, like Netflix, you're not losing that much money. If you added $1 to your subscription basis, it covers everything.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'm sure it turned a lot of people off. You know.
Yeah. I think they had their lowest growth quarter after.
Yeah. Like,
and they had a lot of people close their accounts
absolutely,
after.
because there's so many other options that doesn't.
And there's less new content coming out.
I know,
Netflix,
so there's no incentive to keep it.
Yeah.
You're yeah.
They,
I know initially when Netflix first came out, they like really advertised password sharing. That was their thing. They're like, oh, you know, let you and your friends
prosecute people later on down the road, which is even crazier.
They are?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, I mean, like, it's your streaming service. Everybody shares passwords for everything. Like, but if you want to roll with it, go for it. I mean, I think always taking that hard stance on stuff turns a lot of people off.
Yeah. So what else is going on?
Not too much. Following golf tournaments.
Yeah, we were
Ready
just
for
in.
the Masters.
We were just in.
Yeah, we watched the first playoff event in Memphis.
That was cool.
It was really
It's hot.
fun. Really hot. Yeah,
Really
It's
hot?
been really hot.
Tell
this
the
year.
story. You told Lucas Glover, good luck.
And he hit in the water.
This was on 16, right? Or
13, I think. 13
It was
or
on the
14.
back nine. It was like
13. It was one of the first holes.
it was one of the.
It was the par 3.
Par
across
3.
The water.
We were standing right there, and Lucas Glover's walking up in the tee box, and Joey tells him, "Yeah, good luck," and he nodded, was appreciative,
So thank you.
and then hit one in the water, but then drained a great 35 footer or something for bogey. So and then he still won the tournament.
when he drained in the water, did he turn around and look at you, or
No, I think it was so hot there. I think
Yeah.
everyone was just so miserable. I mean, it was like 150 with the
It was
the
crazy.
heat index. It was everyone was just like,
I mean, every hole those golfers would just go in the cooler, hands first, and just let their hands cool down.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. We got Victor Hovland some encouragement. Led to his great play that he's still carrying through. So
Mhm.
good to see. Golfers in the ropes can be hard sometimes. You know what I mean? And they don't take too well to
Adversity.
advances.
Yeah. They won't even pay attention. They're just in their own
Nah,
little world.
Never.
Yeah.
Except a few. There's a few good ones out there. Sahith
Some
Theegala
do.
is a good one.
Sahith is my man. He's a friend of the bird.
Phil's fantastic.
Phil's the best. Can't get much out of Bubba Watson.
Bubba Watson doesn't like to be touched.
Well, you got a great Bubba Watson story.
No
I
way.
I can't believe you just mentioned that name. Yeah, Bubba and I go way back.
Really?
So this was the Ryder Cup 2012.
What was that? Was that
Chicago?
Medina, Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my fraternity brothers, his dad is a member at Medina,
Oh crap.
and I happened to be able to come visit him, and we went. He invited me to the Ryder Cup, and this is my first ever golf tournament.
That's a big one.
It was humongous. It was I don't even have the words to describe. I was just expecting, have a few beers, watch some golf. Understatement of the year. So you guys probably already know being this one. So the crowd will go ahead to try and get to the hole so they can watch their favorite player.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was Bubba and all these like big names were there. I wasn't a big golfer at the time, but yeah, I'm like, sure, that'll be cool. So I wanted to go get some drinks, and they have these tents set up very, carefully, so it's away from the play. And the one rule that they give you is, don't cut across actual like fairways and greens because obviously plays going on. So the beer tent's over here, and my friends are over there, and let me just quickly run. No one's gonna see me. So I run, I grab the 2 beers, and I'm running back. And as I'm running by, this ball just comes lands square in front of me. So the other rule is if the ball lands in front of you, you take a few steps back and let whoever hit it come and get out of the way.
Stuff on it.
So yeah. So I have the 2 beers in hand, and this ball comes around. I'm like, oh shit! So I take a few steps back. I'm in a little bit of the rough, and it's Bubba Watson, and this huge crowd is just walking right behind him. So put my beers down. I'm watching him. Takes this perfect shot, lands right on the green, and he's as close as Frank and I are. So I'm like, yeah, Bubba, what's up? And like I raise my hand up just to like give him like a high five. The guy next to me smacks him on the ass.
Oh,
I'm sure
Hard.
appreciated that.
Like hard, like I could hear the recoil. Bubba turns around and can see just my hand up like this. And he points to me. And before I know it, I am tackled to the ground, zip cuffed. I have a minor concussion. The beers are gone, spilled all over the place. And I'm been knocked to the ground. I'm being carried away, and I just see just like grass and shit in my eyes, and I can see my friend just running full speed at me. And I kind of blacked out. I wake up in Country Club jail at Medina Club.
How was Medina Country Club jail?
Beautiful.
Is it?
10 out of 10 experience. And I still zip cuffed. And they're like, what were you doing? What was this? You can't, you're not allowed to touch the players. We can file, assault charges. And again, I'm assuming I had a concussion because I've never felt like this before where I'm hearing things, but it's just like a delay in everything. My friend, his dad show up and they're like, it wasn't him. I'm like, no, I just raised my hand. They also have CC footage all across the course. Where they hide these cameras, I don't know, in the fucking trees. It was crazy. But they were able to go back to the tape, and they saw that it wasn't me. They let me go. And as a consolation, they let me pick out a hat.
oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So the worst part about this is
I've actually,
Did you
pretty
ever-
sure
did you
I've
ever-
heard about Bubba
No.
talking about it.
No, so I tweeted this. I tweeted a picture of me with the hat, and I was like, thanks, Bubba. This motherfucker retweeted me. He didn't say anything. He just retweeted it. I was like, thanks, Bubba. He retweeted me. So,
Like, I mean, like, you think
Did
of
you get a
it-
lot of Twitter followers after that? Are you famous now?
I have to check. I'm at X, right?
X,
So-
yeah.
Whatever.
But you think of
At
like,
that time, it was still
Yeah.
Twitter.
I've seen him do a lot of clip interviews and stuff. Like when he won the Masters in 2012, when he hits that like,
Ridiculous.
yeah, like a slice through the
It was a huge hook, right?
yeah, a
with the
huge
wedge.
hook through the wedge on 10, I believe, at Augusta, and he just like some guy again like pats him on the back and just watching him because he was a really marketable character. Like the first Richard Mille, like that was like the most expensive watch that ever came out, $500,000.
He had a hovercraft.
And then he had the
Speaking of the Richard Mille, you just met Moses the jeweler the other day.
oh yeah,
Tell that
that's fine.
story.
Yeah, took
You
the
smack him on the
time,
ass.
met his fan. No, I didn't slap. I should have.
He probably would have massaged you on the
Yeah.
spot.
No, just I'm not in that position yet, but I feel that if I attained a certain level of fame, and if someone came up to me to talk to me, I would give them that respect, that 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Moses the jeweler, the dude, I saw him on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
He's not famous. The guy is just a Joe Schmo working, and he's in a line of work where he's a salesman.
Mhm.
TikTok has given him a platform and has given him a following. And that guy was nice enough to literally take 5 minutes of his day and give me that importance. Maybe it was an easy day for him, maybe not. You know, we're all busy people. We all have shitty days. But I will always remember him as being that nice guy who gave me 5 minutes. Who knows what he's like in real
We'll pull the
life.
picture up here somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And-
who knows what he's like
It's
in real
true that, I mean, it makes you feel like you didn't waste time watching his videos.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for any kind of reaction.
Absolutely.
Like I met Phil Mickelson, and he is by far the nicest guy. Like I talked to him for 10 minutes in a parking lot a day before the U.S. Open. Like he needed that to complete the Grand Slam, and he took a picture.
So you're saying you're the reason he lost?
No, he wasn't. He actually might have been in contention that year, but he didn't sniff the lead, I don't think. But as far as stuff like that goes, I mean, it just really almost just affirms your respect for the person.
So I will say this: people like Phil Mickelson or any movie star, you know, the amount of, and feel free to disagree with this, but they are being paid a certain premium, right? Robert Downey Jr., these people are making millions of dollars because we as the fandom have elevated them to that level.
Exactly.
Same with Phil Mickelson. So their livelihood to a certain degree is because of our fandom. So it's not that he owes you anything those 10 minutes, but he should have that respect to the fact that they are not making money for golf. They're making money because of entertainment
Well, it's
value.
endorsements. And
Endorsements. Yeah.
Well, and
But the endorsements that are achieved
it's
because of fandom.
The following is where the money comes from.
and then that's the thing, right? Most people that play for professional golf will not retire because they played professional golf. If you're on the mini tours, you're grinding it out. You're losing money.
Sure.
Maybe the top 2, 3, 4, 500 players in the world are breaking even, and the tops of those, you've got Tiger, who's
it's
worth
0.01%
hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, a billion.
I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but like the Phil Mickelson example that he gave, I almost feel like that is the tax that you pay for the
exactly
achievement,
any,
the level you've achieved.
Yeah, any being a celebrity to that extent, but most of them don't do that. They're not. They're going to brush you off and say, "See ya." David Toms, AJ was the biggest David Toms fan growing up.
I was like 12.
He was 12 years old.
I got his ball that he used.
He had his ball, and he said, "Mr. Toms, can you sign this?" And as a kid, he looks at him and says, "I don't sign golf balls."
Walks away.
And he is a
Shrugged me
golfer.
Yeah.
He also cost us a car.
Yeah, he did.
How would you sign a golf ball though?
You just
sign it.
just
They
scribble
sign
on
them
it.
all the damn time.
Yeah, they do.
Tiger Woods
Like-
signs fucking golf balls.
But I mean,
Not enough
just
surface area.
out of everything, we've met a bunch of Seth the Gala was so nice. I mean, it's just you create more of a respect for the player if they're just nice to the fan. Like Jordan Spieth, we saw him interact with the fan, and I was completely shook. I thought he was just gonna.
He gave the guy his banana sandwich.
He did, and then he said this kid was like, Jordan, look at my necklace, and he looks up at the kid and says, "I love that, love your necklace," and then gives him a fist bump and walks off.
Yeah, he was really interactive with the crowd.
That's what I'm saying. He just and he's a superstar in golf now.
I get it to some degree. If you're in the zone and your next putts for a difference of $100,000,
Well, I'm not even on the golf course. I'm talking
but just
after,
outside, yeah.
You just nod your head.
Yeah,
Say,
the thing is though, there's a lot of people in this world with a platform that really just do not treat people well and have a bad reputation. These people, they have horrible reputations
for just being pricks.
Yeah,
they think they're better than everybody else.
Yeah, every single thing you hear bad about those people is a data point to take into consideration.
And Lizzo, I think, is on that list now.
She fat shamed one of her.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the whole deal.
And I just don't get where that comes from.
It's just some entitlement that comes with, I guess, thinking you have this platform and you're important for some reason.
But like the thing is with those stars, like a new one comes every year.
Yeah.
But then you forget that one exists.
A lot of them are a flash in the pan, you know, they blow up and, you know, they're big for a little bit.
But I think it's great just to come across someone that you watch and are familiar with their work.
And they're actually just
And
genuinely
like
nice people.
Like, you know, I never hear anything bad about like Keanu Reeves or anything like that. Like, and that's really just like something that in my opinion is probably just boost them for sure in likability. But
I heard very recently that I guess at the end of John Wick 4, he has like 5 stuntmen or something. He got each one of his stuntmen.
He got matching watches, right?
Rolex Submariners.
Really?
Engraved
with.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Really cool.
I want you to think of like Taylor Swift, like giving her, just all of her truck drivers like $100,000 bonus.
Yeah.
That's life changing money for those guys.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, just the show of appreciation back to where your fame comes from. To me is like the most important thing.
Nobody gets there by themselves.
No one does. It takes a lot of lucky breaks.
People, you know, believing in you, helping you out along the way.
Definitely.
But I mean, who's the most famous person you met at RC?
You guys would not know who this person is, but there's a very, very famous Bollywood movie director. His name was Karan Johar, and he is like outside of the United States very, very famous. But we were in Dubai, and like my parents, me were huge fans of his movie. He's elevated. Like, Frank knows his name, Shah Rukh Khan. Like
I know who that is.
Oh yeah, so Shah Rukh Khan's movies were directed by him.
Okay.
So we met him in a mall.
This is like meeting Scorsese, basically.
Yes. Yeah. We met him
like
in
the Goodfellas.
We met him in a mall in Dubai, and like my dad lost it, you know? And I think I was a kid when I met him too, but I had this sense at that time, and I still have it now when I come across someone even remotely famous, whether it's Moses the jeweler. I don't want to take something from them. Like I don't want them to feel that I'm trying to take. My dad is all up on him and trying to get pictures with him. And I remember just walking up to him and be like, I'm looking forward to the next movie. And the guy gave me a smile. He looked at my dad like he was crazy, but he smiled at me and said, thank you. And same with Moses, where I didn't go up to him to
I mean, that's a respectful way to approach somebody, right?
With Moses also, I didn't want to get the picture to post on Instagram. I got the picture and posted it on Instagram, but it was just genuinely like, this is a guy who's bringing me joy when
some entertainment. And,
I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, and yes, the photo was more so for my friends. But yeah, sorry, your original question was famous person. I think it'd be that. I've also met Jeff Daniels at the.
Oh really?
His daughter went to Michigan State.
Oh really?
And he'd be at the Detroit airport in and out all the time. So. I met him at Detroit Airport once. So.
Very cool.
What about you guys?
Phil Mickelson's probably the most I've.
Phil Mickelson.
Obama, probably. I met up Barack Obama.
Oh, did you really?
Really?
Yeah, I met him. My friend ran his campaign in Iowa. He's like, do you want to meet the president? And I was like, sure. I met him. I met Joe Biden. Michelle went to go give me a hug when I was, talked to him for a couple of minutes, but she went to go give me a hug, and I guess I made him too fast of a move, and the Secret Service agent put me in an arm lock and put me to the ground.
Really?
Really quick, yeah. I don't know. I didn't hurt at all, but she kind of laughed, but I guess I made a too fast movement towards her to hug her. She was coming to me.
Probably because it was like a little awkward, like you weren't expecting it. So
I wasn't expecting it, but he put me in, restrained me.
What did Barry say to you?
I think I laughed. It was like a thing. Like, I guess it happens. But it was really quick, and I guess there were, people who protect the president are probably really well trained, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they had complete control, and I'm not going to fight back. But she laughed and still met him, and that's kind of cool. That's probably he's probably one of the most famous people in the world, arguably. Probably the most famous, I'd say.
Yeah.
You can't get more than that.
Yeah, what is there, like Mr. Beast? It's the only person more famous.
Who's the
than
most famous
Barack.
person in the world, do you think?
Probably him right now, right, Mr. Beast? I mean, when you consider the fact,
In the
like,
world,
I mean, he's got to be.
Hey,
He has,
Mr. B.
he has how many hundreds of millions of YouTube followers?
yeah.
His face was seen like 35 billion times last year.
yeah. Whose face can you see and it'd be the most recognizable?
I don't think
Trump, Obama,
uh,
Paul McCartney.
But like, I mean, it's kind of like a weird, cause like you think like anybody over probably 35 doesn't know what Mr. Beast looks like. A very small percentage.
Were you watching him earlier today when we met in?
I mean, that was just the playlist. Like honestly,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Whatever shows up.
yeah, that's probably just,
Your dad watches Mr. Beast.
Yeah, we love.
yeah,
Mr.
he,
Beast.
Yeah.
he knows. He's not googling Mr. Beast on YouTube, like searching him on YouTube.
It's just his thumbnails are really
Yeah.
optimized for.
Yeah.
He's great. He's done a heck of a job. I mean, but again, it takes passion to do that. You know,
Definitely
that's all he
does.
did when he was 14 or
Yeah.
15, before YouTube was anything really. But I mean, it's crazy to even see like these guys on like Twitch and stuff signing like $100 million deals.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Aiden Ross.
Those streaming deals
I
are
mean,
there. So what was there's the new thing separate from Twitch, some other company.
Discord.
No, there was another company that some of these streamers were signing with because
mhm.
Twitch I think doesn't allow any like gambling advertising or something, but this other system
yeah,
does.
Steve will do. It's probably on it.
Is he
I think so.
really?
Yeah.
He's on one of those that you're talking about.
Yeah. So
But I mean, you think that's NBA money? It's more than that.
yeah,
$50 million a year.
I mean those contracts are huge, but that's where there's a following these days.
Mhm.
You know,
no one watches cable television.
no.
They're just looking for that.
Yeah.
I guess that's just the way it is now. So I can tell you the last time I even watched like something on like CBS or Fox.
Well, I don't know how outdated this news is, but they're saying now with this whole SAG-AFTRA strike that they're trying to actually go after these YouTube influencer people to deliver content through that medium.
But
That would kill it.
the thing is, they wouldn't. I don't think
We're
a
not
lot
gonna
of
sell out.
these YouTubers.
We're making a
have
live pact on the
100
podcast. We're not selling out.
Yeah.
They have 100% creative freedom. I don't think they would want to.
No, that's the thing, right? Like, somebody
Yeah.
offered Mr. Beast like $1 billion already and turned it down.
Okay, well, so take Mr. Beast out of
No, I'm
it.
just using that as
Yeah.
an example.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay,
data point here.
But like this, and again, take a grain of salt, right?
Mhm.
But if the actors don't go back to work, if the writers don't create content, who else is there? It's these independent
That's it.
people.
But they're doing.
I
it
can
anyways.
see like a lot of like the run of the mill YouTubers that
Yeah.
do like these reaction videos and like funny prank videos would do it, but I don't think people would follow
people that
to
are big and have their own 10, 20
They
million
make way too much money to
person
give it up.
following.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
because no time in history have you been able to create what you want and have that large of a following just organically and develop it yourself and not have to rely on some studio.
but
you
it's
know?
I think it's the money element is what I'm talking about.
These people are making enormous sums of money though.
They're making way more than any sitcom actor ever did.
yeah.
Like if you're over
They're-
5
the-
million subscribers, you're
The
clear.
brand deals, not just ad revenue, but the brand deals, being able to use your own platform to market something you created
And
yourself.
for those networks, you
Look
sell
at,
your
like,
rights.
yeah, like
You know,
yeah.
so you couldn't do any
Yeah.
of that.
Do you feel that would change with the backing of like a studio?
I don't.
So, for example, the podcast that we're on now
Mhm.
versus Mr. Beast,
Mhm.
you add Netflix or Bob Iger's full force behind this.
Mhm.
I personally think it could outdo that. I think they have a lot more money,
It de-
resources.
it
Do you think
depends,
a
though,
lot of
right?
these viral videos are going viral for almost nothing?
Yeah, the barrier to
Yeah.
entry is smaller than it's ever been because everyone. Now, I'm not saying it wouldn't help, especially let's say somebody's just small and they're brand new and they don't have a huge following. Yeah, if you gave Joe Schmo on the street, $20 million to, produce some full length video on YouTube, they're probably going to have a better outcome compared to if they didn't have that. But if they organically grew over a couple of years and developed a huge following, it'd be really hard to give up your creative freedom and ability to say what you want.
I guess what I'm getting at is, unfortunately, like coming back to this whole strike thing, I don't think it's going to be solved anytime soon.
No, I don't think anyone.
And I think
that.
What Bob Iger, I'm sorry if it's, I keep using his name, but he's the one that's always in the news. But those people will be going after more YouTube individual content creators.
Yeah.
Maybe not the bigger ones.
Now they would get some of those, but again, I think it would be the equivalent of having like the two actors from like the Two Broke Girls show. You know, like it could do 1 or 2 seasons, but at the same time, I think it would fizzle out over time. And I mean, like after that, like it's just there's it's like almost taking a lump sum instead of writing out your channel.
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably is attractive to people because they could retire after.
Yeah.
They could do whatever they want, but
there a lot of those deals too. They have like the stipulation that whoever it is stays involved, and like they want like it's kind of like one of those like almost like those deals you see like in the tech industry where, you know, a company will acquire another company, but then like the founder of that previous company is now employed by the company that acquired them, or, you know, because like what's the point in what are you laughing at?
I think he farted.
Oh.
Sorry, bro.
No, it's okay.
On the mic next time.
Yeah, next time you want to be about 8 inches from the
We
mic.
need to share with the audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if somebody paid Mr. Beast $1 billion for his channel, but then he stopped working for them and didn't make videos for them, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, like I mean,
you know, there's always like that stipulation.
It'd be like
too,
you buying like something like the Beatles music rights.
Yeah.
Because those movies are going to keep generating revenue for a long time now.
For sure.
So.
But. I don't know.
Anyways, how much longer you guys want to keep going?
That's
Should we
good.
call it?
I think that's good. We got a golf match tomorrow, so.
Yeah, you guys gotta get up early.
It's fun, guys.
Good luck tomorrow.
That was awesome. Yeah.
So that was episode.
Episode 4.
So don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Hit the bell icon.
RC wants to be famous, so let's make that happen.
Let's make that happen.